the beginning, there was nothing unusual about Earth. A small, blue sphere orbiting an average star on the fringe of a minor arm in a common galaxy. It was logged, categorized, and ignored by the Galactic Concord as just another unripe world, still clawing its way out of primal chaos. And for a long time, the assessment held true. Earth remained a noisy, polluted, tribal place where beings killed each other for imaginary lines and worshipped gods made in their own image. It had weapons but no wisdom, courage but no coordination, data but no clarity. Other civilizations watched from afar as Earth fumbled its way through industrial adolescence and eventually reached the age of signals, the era in which species sent whispers into the void, desperate to know if they were alone. Most did so within decades of discovering radio, their signals spreading outward like ripples on a pond. But Earth stopped whispering. The first transmissions, crackling voices, wartime speeches, primitive broadcasts, were weak, chaotic, and strangely emotional. Then came television signals, full of laughter, horror, violence, and longing. For a brief moment, alien observers believed Earth might join the great conversation. But then, as quickly as it had started, it all fell silent. Not a transmission, not a pulse, not even a fluctuation in background noise. Earth was not just quiet, it was calculating, listening, but saying nothing. The Concord, used to categorizing life into convenient stages, marked Earth as non-communicative. Not primitive enough to be dismissed entirely, but clearly not evolved enough to engage. Observation posts were left in orbit around nearby systems, mostly as a formality. Long-range drones noted Earth's progress in technology but found no matching evolution in philosophy, morality, or cooperation. The dominant species, humans, appeared more interested in entertaining themselves to death than reaching for the stars. So, like many others before it, Earth was left to grow or die in silence. But silence, the Concord would learn, is not the same as absence. It is not passivity, it is not surrender, it is preparation. For nearly 4 centuries, Earth offered no signals, no ambassadors, no ships. But its silence was not idle. Beneath its cloudy skies, across its war-scarred continents, something unprecedented was happening. Humanity, in its strange, self-conflicting way, was not dying. It was becoming something else. Its systems became more complex, its questions more layered. It no longer asked, "Are we alone?" Instead, it began asking, "Why would we want to be found?" And then, in a philosophical turn unseen by any prior species, it asked, "What would we do if they were already watching?" That question, once hypothetical, gained weight when anomalies began to appear. Probes sent to the edge of the solar system vanished. Drones with cloaking protocols began to malfunction near Earth's magnetic field. Observers stationed in the Oort cloud, who had reported nothing for centuries, simply stopped reporting. One, a biomechanical witness from the Tall Empire, had been stationed in silence for over 2,000 years. He died without warning, mid-thought, without cause. His systems didn't fail. His mind did. It simply ceased functioning, as if some fundamental process had been rewritten. His last recorded line, "They're not what we thought." Panic did not set in at first. Immortals rarely panic, but patterns emerged. Other long-range observers began to show signs of neurological instability. Perfectly engineered minds, designed to withstand boredom, isolation, and even insanity, began to fracture. Some screamed across subspace in tongues they had never learned. Others drew strange symbols in their own data streams. A few simply shut down, not exploded, not erased, just turned off. The Concord sent in investigators, and they, too, returned damaged, not physically, psychologically. They reported vivid dreams of endless tunnels lined with mirrors, where every reflection was human, but not quite. They described feelings of being watched, not by eyes, but by awareness itself. Some said they were made to remember things they had never experienced. One diplomat, trembling in his containment suit, said he saw his entire civilization's lies laid bare before him, whispered by a human voice he never met. Still, Earth said nothing. It neither confirmed nor denied anything. It simply kept orbiting its star, seemingly untouched. But those who looked closely began to notice strange behaviors on the planet itself. A sudden drop in carbon emissions, without any corresponding policy change. A worldwide disappearance of religious extremism, without force. A collapse of financial markets followed by a spontaneous and inexplicable return to stable, equitable systems. Languages blended, borders dissolved, not through war, but choice. Something had unified Earth, not under a flag, not under a tyrant, but under an idea. The idea was never spoken, it never had to be. Humanity had, in its silence, reached a consensus that defied all predictions. They would not speak to the stars until they understood themselves. And once they did, they would not ask for entry. They would decide who was worthy of speaking back. The Concord convened. Panic now leaked into their deliberations. No known species had ever developed this way. Progress without proclamation, power without projection. Earth had no empire, no space fleet, no colonies. But it had reached a level of coherence that threatened the very structure of the galactic order, not through aggression, but by demonstrating a new possibility. A civilization that didn't need the universe to approve of it. Attempts were made to make contact, not with threats, but invitations. Fleets arrived in Earth's orbit cloaked in diplomacy and curiosity. They sent messages of peace, offers of trade, even reverent praise. None were answered. Their signals bounced, unread. Their ships were allowed to hover, to wait, but not to approach, not to land. And when one tried, just one, against orders, it was never heard from again. No energy spike, no weapon discharge, no debris. It simply vanished. And still, Earth said nothing. Not silence, precision. Then, after decades more of patient refusal, Earth sent its own message. It wasn't in binary. It wasn't in math. It wasn't even transmitted across space. It was embedded in dreams, thoughts, unexplainable epiphanies. Alien leaders began waking up in cold sweats, with images in their minds that did not belong to them. Ideas that unraveled their own empires. Concepts of justice, humility, compassion, and doubt that had no origin in their culture, yet could not be shaken. These were not threats. These were reflections. Reflections of every civilization's most hidden guilt. Every broken promise. Every genocide rewritten as glory. Every conquest dressed as progress. Humanity had seen it all, in themselves. And now, they were holding up the mirror. The final turning point came not with a battle, but a vote. One of the oldest members of the Concord, a species that had never known war, collapsed its own senate after every representative awoke on the same day with the same whispered thought. You are still children. No one knew where the message came from. No signal traced. No frequency logged. But the psychological impact was irreversible. Their culture, founded on the belief of their superiority, crumbled from within. And all the while, Earth remained blue, quiet, watching. It had not ascended. It had inverted the concept. While others sought the stars to conquer or connect, Earth had gone inward. Not isolationist, but introspective. It had studied itself, dissected its flaws, embraced its contradictions, and rebuilt its consciousness. And in doing so, it had learned a truth that no other civilization had dared to imagine. Sometimes, the most dangerous thing a species can do is nothing at all.